Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us in the DXB podcast from DirectXbox.com and our forums. This is podcast number 10. We've made it 10 podcasts, surprisingly. Or not surprisingly, I guess, depending on how you look at it. We're pretty determined. So, I'm joined by three people, as some people had weather-related and family issues and everything else. So, I'll be your host. I'm Chanogram. Chano, real name is Channing. Whatever you want to call me. I'll let these guys introduce themselves.
Hey, it's MWJW, real name Michael.
It's Carnal Sin, real name Dominic.
Hey, it's CabinTerror, real name Bobby.
Alright, so that's just us four. Another small-ish podcast. There's been a few of those lately. It's summer. Everyone's got stuff going on, so...
no hiccups either.
Yeah, made it through the... No one screwed up. No one had their mic muted. No one forgot their name, like MW did last week.
What's my name? Is my name Average?
Alright, so it's still slow. I think we're gonna be slow right up until maybe a couple weeks into leading up into Gamescom in August. So I anticipate this whole month to be pretty quiet. There's also not a lot of games coming out, so we'll do our best to fill in and create our own topics, and also go over what news does come through. There is still some bits that are worth noting, so we'll also have the beta to talk about for Destiny, so that'll be fun later this month.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll talk a little more about that too. So before we get into the news, let's see if anyone's playing anything new or just find out what people are playing in general. I'll actually, instead of going first this time, I'll actually go last. So MW, what are you playing?
I've been playing Sick and Almost Dead. Those aren't games, those are real life. So I just kind of been, I don't know if anybody heard it, but the last podcast I was in, apparently I was completely sick and I didn't realize it yet. But a couple of the guys kind of pointed it out to me, and the next day, yeah, it just hit me and all that week. So I've been pretty bad. I've been looking at my phone and watching TV and Netflix, so I got some Titanfall in here and there, and that's about the end of it.
Yeah.
That was my week, staring at nothing.
The only thing you've been playing is a battle with your immune system.
That's right, and I lost. Go steroids.
Game over.
All right, Colonel.
Yeah, the only thing I've really been playing is Guacamelee because it's free. I actually really like the game a lot. It reminds me a little bit of Metroid, but not really. The way that I can explain that is the way you find items and stuff, and you have to get powers to find more items like energy tanks and stuff like that. That's how it compares. Plus, there's a pretty substantial amount of Metroid Easter eggs in it, so you can definitely tell where they got their inspiration.
Yeah.
But no, it's a fun game. I've been having a good time with it. It's pretty lengthy for what it is, so other than that, I haven't really touched any games.
All right. Well, let's talk about Guacamelee quick because I think a few of us have played it.
All right.
Cabin, have you played Guacamelee?
Yeah, I've finished it through I guess what would be called the main story, because you can get into other parts of the map that are like challenge or trials or whatever. And I tried to do some of those, and I didn't even understand how to get through it. So it was beyond me, like how to even complete that stuff. But I got through the main story. I think it's pretty good. I like the mechanics of the game. I like the gameplay. I think the design can get frustrating at times. That's the only thing that kind of makes me not give it like 100% thumbs up or anything. But that's just me. I found that it was like frustrating at times, but
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Before you talk about anything else you've been playing, I want to talk about Guacamelee a little bit. I don't have a whole lot to add. I downloaded it. I played it for maybe an hour. I plan to go back and play some more. It's one of those smaller games, and anyone who's listened to this podcast knows that very few of these smaller games suck me in. It seems like a really good game. I do like the art style. I just think I need to get into it a certain degree before I finally get hooked in it. And that's part of my issue with some of these smaller games is for a relatively small game, it takes too long to sink its hook in me, I guess. That's just me. Yeah, but for a small game that's a cheaper game, obviously in this case it's free. If it doesn't grab me in the first like 20 minutes, it's just not gonna grab me, or it's gonna be really tough, and I have to be really bored to go back and play it. So it does. I mean, it seemed relatively fun. We'll see. I'll go back and play a little bit more. I know it has co-op, so I want to play some local co-op at some point too when I have a friend over. So I'll give it another shot. But it seems good. It seems, for what it is. I'm also not a big fan of that style of game either. Like I'm not the what is it, Metroidvania. I'm not someone who typically likes those style of games for whatever reason. So that had that going against it right off the bat. But it seems like it was really well done, and the art style is really cool. So it's kind of a unique game.
Yeah, if you don't like those style of games, you probably won't get into it too much. But it does have co-op, which is unique.
Yep.
So
that's probably why I'll go back to it, is because there's not a lot of local co-op games anymore, which is a whole other piece for another day. But I'll go back to it. Before we go any further, what else have you been playing, Cabin?
And also, it's actually kind of a blessing that average isn't with us, because I've played Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero, and I am going to bash it a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, when it comes to the narrative, it's essentially a prologue to Phantom Pain. So in that sense, it's pretty cool. The narrative is, what to expect from a Metal Gear Solid game. That's kind of just over the top. But the narrative campaign is like 2 hours long, pretty much. It took me 2 hours to get through it. And then essentially there's a whole bunch of there's only one map, and then there's like a whole bunch of different missions you can do on the same map that's not really narratively driven. It's just things to do. And because of that, since there's a $30 price tag, I didn't actually pay for it. I rented it off a GameFly. But I can imagine, I can't really justify anyone paying $30 for the game, because if you want it for the Metal Gear storyline, or as something to add to your experience for Phantom Pain, it doesn't really. It's a short prologue, pretty much. So that's how I came away from it.
Better to watch it on Twitch or YouTube.
Possibly. It is a solid game. It definitely is promising for what Phantom Pain is going to be like, because the mechanics are very good. So it's not all crap. There's good things to it.
Like I've been saying the entire time, I'm just going to wait till Phantom Pain comes out, and I'm getting almost guaranteed that it'll be bundled with Phantom Pain. So.
It might.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any problem with the actual thing. I have a problem with the price tag. If the game's solid, that's fantastic. If it's short, don't overpay for it. You did the right thing. You got it at GameFly, so, thumbs up. That's what everyone should do.
I agree.
I think someone beat it in under
money.
8 minutes.
Yeah. You can speedrun it.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I ain't gonna pay $30 for a game like that.
Yeah. I actually own it. I got it free when they had the what was it? I don't remember, Memorial Day sale? I don't remember what it was. There was a sale where you could buy 2 get 1 free for Xbox One games on Xbox.com or the Microsoft Store. And that was one of the free ones I got. Or one of the ones I bought to get a free game, I should say. And then I also got Stick of Truth, which I still haven't played. I installed it and I haven't even fired it up yet. So I am not a huge Metal Gear fan, but the price was right, free, basically. So I'll probably try it once it gets closer to Phantom Pain. But yeah, it's.
Yeah, it won't take you very long, so so at least just get to the story.
Yeah,
part.
I'll probably play through once and call it a day. So I had a major issue with the price in the game, just like MW. So. The value's not there. I know people have put in like 20, 30 hours into it to get all the challenges and stuff, but you guys all know I'm not a big challenge achievement person. I don't care. I care about the actual game itself, not going back and trying to get every little piece of anything unless it's Tomb Raider. So yeah, there's going to be basically a 2-hour gameplay session for me, and that'll be the end of that game probably. So. Watch, I'll pop it in later tonight, and I'll come back next week and say, "Oh God, I put in 30 hours this week."
Oh Jesus! If you play 30 hours of that game,
got every bit of achievement.
You put 30 hours into that game, and I'll buy you the full game.
That sounds like a challenge. I'm just gonna sit there and let it time run up.
And I got 100% it too.
It's documented.
Not only did he put 30 hours.
So.
Not only did he put 30 hours in the game, but he put 30 hours in exactly after this podcast.
Yeah.
You're just gonna leave it run.
Anything else, Cabin, or was that it?
That's it. Yeah.
All right. I've been playing not a lot this week. You guys have probably not seen me on as much. MW probably noticed. I've just been busy with work and the holiday. By the way, I hope everyone had a great 4th. For those of you in the U.S., I forgot to mention that.
Fireworks.
Yeah. For those of you not in the U.S., I hope you had a good weekend. That's all it was for you.
And
While we
haha.
enjoyed our freedom.
Yeah. For those of you in the UK, haha. Yeah, I've been playing. I've been playing a little bit of. Like I said, I tried Guacamelee. I played a little bit of Titanfall since the last podcast. When people are up for playing it, it's one game I do not play alone anymore. One game that I started playing this week, or this weekend, I should say, is FIFA 14. I'm not a huge soccer fan. I did watch the World Cup in points, but my 11-year-old is into soccer and he likes watching it, and also my 11-year-old little brother is also really into soccer. And he was over here playing with my 11-year-old, and they were playing FIFA because he has it and brought it over. And I hopped in and got my ass kicked by both of them multiple times. So I got mad, and we borrowed the game from him, and I stayed up until 3 in the morning that night perfecting my skills in FIFA 14. So I played my 11-year-old the next night and kicked his ass, and I felt much better. So I
Parenting at its best, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, well, they were getting pretty cocky, so someone had to put them in their place. So
good man.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not a huge soccer fan. I appreciate the sport for what it is, just not my favorite sport. I do actually enjoy that game, and I'm actually considering picking up FIFA 15 when it comes out later this year. I know there's a ton of other games, but I think it's one of those games that you can, even if you're not a master at it, you can still have quite a bit of fun if you're playing with someone. I don't think I'd ever play online because I just get my ass kicked nonstop. But playing with the kids and stuff, it's a pretty fun game. It's pretty well done. Even though the graphics aren't a whole lot better than the 360 version and everything else, we all know that whole thing. But yeah, it's a fun game. So if anyone's interested in soccer, I would check it out. I'm sure you can pick it up for a much better price now, or wait for FIFA 15 because I'm sure I'll be picking that up too.
We can put together the DXB team.
Yeah. worst clan of soccer, and since none of us play, I think I'm the only person who plays.
I'm gonna sit on the sidelines and cheer, maybe drink a couple of beers. Go team!
So yeah, other than that, I haven't really played much. Played a little bit of 60-second shooter Prime, which you've talked about.
Oh, I did buy that.
Did you? What'd you think?
Yeah, well, I was kind of disappointed because I got up to 1 million, like right on the edge of it, and I'm like, yes, I beat the score. Then I looked, and you guys were like, holy shit, because the thing scrolled up, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not even anywhere near their score.
Yeah.
I beat Mortimus, but that was about it.
I think I'm still sitting at 1.8 or 1.9 million. I think, unless MW's beating me, or I'm at 2.
No, you're at 2 million. You're at 2 million. Yeah. MW is at 1.8 million. I'm at 999,000.
Yeah,
I was like, fuck this.
Yeah. Yeah. As we've said before, it's well worth $5. It's
fun.
super addictive. You'll find yourself dying constantly, just mashing the A button to get right back into the game. You'll blow it. You'll blow like 45 minutes to an hour before you even know it.
Yeah, I played like half an hour before the podcast just to kind of get my game going.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't even reach 1.5 million at all. Forget this. Tried a couple of different strategies even.
It's one of those games. You'll have like 7 or 8 horrible rounds or more. You could have 20 horrible rounds, and all of a sudden you'll put it together for one round, and you'll hit like 1.5 million, and then you won't have another round like that the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cabin, we recommend it for $5. You can't go wrong. So.
Yeah, it's
I'll
pretty
keep that in mind.
Yep. It's all score driven. There's absolutely zero campaign or anything like that. So.
For what it is, it's fun. It's an arcade game. I mean, you can't really go wrong. $5.
$5 arcade game. Not
all right.
Yeah.
Well, not spend too much time on that because we've been talking about that game quite a bit lately, which is funny because it's a $5 game and we're talking more about that game than any other game.
2 days later. It kind of brings us to our next
that's what a lot
topic
of
a little bit.
think.
Well, one of our next topics.
Yeah.
Well, what is our next topic? Games with, upcoming releases? No?
Yeah, but technically that's Sniper Elite.
Oh yeah, Sniper Elite 3 came out. None of us have played it. reviews are average, mediocre to average, 60s, mid 60s to high 60s, I guess is what I've been seeing. So if you like the sniper games, I'm sure you'll probably like this one. If you never played a sniper game, roll the dice, I guess. I don't think anyone thinks it's a terrible game. I haven't read that, but no one's praising it and saying it's the next big thing. Nor was it marketed to be, I don't think so. But not much else came out this week that I could think of. And honestly, not much comes out this week. I try to look it up in a couple different websites, and I can't even find anything that comes out this week for PS4, Xbox. It's just a quiet week, and most of July, honestly, is pretty quiet. So,
Yep.
Next topic, unless you guys have anything else about new releases or recent releases, if you've tried any.
Sniper Elite is the best game ever, man. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So, excuse me. Yeah. Games with Gold. Current offers right now. Just so everyone knows, in case you haven't gotten them yet. For Xbox One, it's Max Curse of Brotherhood still. I'm not sure how far that's going to go in July. Did they say the whole month or maybe half the month for Max?
They didn't say.
Okay. So if you haven't gotten Max, at least download it. It's actually a pretty fun game, especially if you have kids, and even if you don't have kids, it's fun.
I played it an hour today. It's very nifty for a little launch-ish title there.
It does get more difficult as you go.
Yeah,
though.
it does get puzzly, and you need to have some timing. You have to have some coordination, I will say, especially some of the sequences. It slows down so you can do stuff, but it is, you can't be, you have to be able to use a controller to play it.
Yeah.
You have to be kind of quick in some parts and figure out what to do. It can also be a little frustrating for a simple game. I've had a couple moments where I've tried a few times and got really irritated, then realized how easy it actually was to beat the part and got mad at myself. It's a decent game. Guacamelee, of course, is the new free Xbox One game. Definitely get that one. And then right now for the 360, it's Gotham City Imposters, which I believe is a decent game. I've never played it, but I remember it getting okay reviews, and people said it was relatively fun. It's not game of the year or anything, so.
It's an arcade shooter. Think of it like a good Call of Duty. You're jumping around buildings, throwing batarangs, poison. You can be on the Joker's side, and his team or Batman's side, and you get to kind of dress your character a little bit, and gadgets and fun things to shoot at people.
I'd more compare it to like Shadowrun when they released it.
Oh yeah, the new Shadowrun for 360.
Yeah, it's basically like that exactly. I mean, it's a versus game. I mean, it's not bad. I played the demo a while, like when it first came out, but.
Does it have the amazing non-existent online support as well, where no one plays it? like
right now might be a really good time to go and play it because, obviously.
The price is right, so go download it and give it a shot. Even if you play for 5 minutes, what can you say? You wasted 5 minutes, no money. So.
And there will be actually people there to play it. So.
Wasted 20 minutes downloading it and 5 minutes playing it.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I will also say go to Major Nelson's blog. I'm not going to read hardly any of these because there's just too many. There's a ton of games on sale specifically for the 360 right now. He just put a post up this week, or today, I mean, not this week. There's a bunch of games on sale. Some are on sale like just tomorrow, for instance, and tomorrow is July 8th because we record on the 7th Monday. Tomorrow, for 360, Assassin's Creed 4 is 38% off, which is kind of a random number. Zoo Tycoon's half off, Spartan Assault. These are 360 games, by the way.
Fable Trilogy is probably the biggest one.
Yeah, Fable Trilogy is a third off, so I didn't bring it up because it wasn't a huge discount or anything, but it's a third off. For Xbox One, Titanfall is a third off, which is a pretty good deal. I know it's cheap at Best Buy and stuff right now, too. I think there's like a $20 off there as well. A lot of retailers are actually matching Xbox's sales lately. So, Season Pass for Call of Duty Ghosts is 40% off. And there's a whole slew of Xbox 360 games that I'm not even going to bring up.
Ooh, Portal 2.
It's the July Ultimate Games. A lot of these you don't even need to have gold, so if you're not a gold subscriber, you can actually get some of these deals. There are some good deals in here, like Skyrim is basically 2/3 off, Dishonored.
Wow.
Portal
Devil May Cry
2.
4. Yeah, there's a bunch of games. Gears of War 3 is 75% off. So
DuckTales remake.
yeah, if you're looking to pick up some 360 games, go check out.
Fill that summer void, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff on here. Something for everyone. You know, it's not all the big games, but there's at least a big game in almost every genre on here. So I'm sure there's something you can find that you haven't played yet. So yeah, Fallout 3 is on there. That's 2/3 off. So yeah, lots of stuff. I might actually pick up the DuckTales game. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to pay full price for it, but for 66% off, I might be able to pick that up. So all right, yeah, that's it for that. I just wanted to point out because I just noticed right before the podcast that there was a ton of games on sale and stuff. So just to let everyone know. Let's go on. So before we get to the actual like real news, not these weekly stuff, I am giving away. I should say we're giving away basically $20 to someone this week. It'll be depending on if you're from the U.S. or wherever you're from, we'll figure out a way to get you the game or money that you want. That's the equivalent of $20 US. So there'll be some sort of a code word or something, and you're going to have to private message me. Not put it in the chat or the thread for this, but you need to private message Chanogram and let me know what it is. You can CC MW or someone on there for verification, so you don't think I'm just picking my favorite. That way there's a record of who actually submitted it. But yeah, don't put it in the thread. Put private message to me and MW or any of us here. Just make sure it's me and someone else. Yep. I'm not gonna tell you when it's gonna be, but at some point throughout between now and the end of the podcast, I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's just a way to thank people for listening to our podcast and actually listening to the whole thing. Obviously, people like to skip through some of our stuff, but for those of you that do listen and appreciate it, this is a way for us to give back. So it's definitely not going to be a weekly thing. So don't listen every week expecting $20 rewards. So
Or maybe you should.
maybe we'll just do it every week and pretend like we're giving it away. The last giveaway we did was Connect Sports Rivals, and I believe it was Tree Hugger that won that, by the way. So I don't think we ever actually announced it.
Oh, someone actually got it?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, Tree Hugger.
Cool.
That's who it was, right, MW?
Yep.
So
sure
hopefully
was.
he redeemed it. Did he? I don't know if he ever replied back to you, but hopefully he redeemed it.
Yeah, he did. He was like, "Oh, awesome, thank you."
Yep. So just want to make sure people know we did follow through on that, even though we didn't talk about it after the actual.
Sure, go message him. He's gonna call us all liars.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So that's that. So let's go on to the actual news. First thing, I put this first because it was just announced today. There was a video or something, I can't remember where that came from, but I didn't watch the video, I just read it everywhere else. The Destiny beta, which everyone's kind of anticipating. I shouldn't say everyone, but I will say probably 75% of Xbox One and PS4 users are probably anticipating because there's not much else to play at the moment. They announced the dates and times for both the PS4 and the Xbox One, and I'm going to give those to you as soon as I pull it up here. The days, I'm going to give you the actual times as well, but the days, it's going to be, this was already known, but the 17th for the PS4 is when it starts, and I believe it's like, I want to say 2 a.m. or something like that, Eastern Time or Pacific Time, I can't remember which one it was. Never mind, it's 1 p.m. Eastern on July 17th is when the PS4 and PS3 owners will be able to access that beta, assuming they've registered at that point. It will go through the 28th overall. So the PS4 will have it between the 17th and the 21st. And then what it will do is basically early morning the 21st and through the 22nd will actually shut down for maintenance for whatever reason. Maybe they're just getting ready for adding on the rest of the people from the other platforms. And then when it opens back up on the 23rd, it will be for Xbox One and 360 as well as PS4 and PS3. So, and then it obviously goes through the 28th, like I said. So we as an Xbox One owners, I don't know, I'm assuming you guys who have PS4 are probably still going to try and do it on Xbox One, or are you going to try and do both? I don't know how the codes work. If you have to register.
they've already said they're going to come play on the Xbox One. I mean, that's where they're going to end up buying the game anyway.
Yeah.
Both Mortimus and I think.
I know Carnal. I just didn't know if they're going to try and
Carnal.
take advantage of the extra few days on the PS4 is all. So, but yeah, it looks like they get it
Probably
for
not.
basically,
Yeah.
3 more days than we do. Basically, is what it boils to.
Well, honestly, I mean, I don't have a PS4, but I think I would try, unless you can only redeem it on one console.
I think
but I would.
when you have one beta code, you can only redeem it on one, but I could very wrong.
Okay.
If I'm wrong,
Well, if you
let
can
us
do
know.
both, I would
Well,
compare them.
I would assume they're going to give you the code on the system you pre-order it on.
I don't think it matters. When they send you the code, I think it's a generic code. You go and register, and it tells you. I think I
which
can't remember if
one?
you choose at that time. It was a long time ago when I registered for it. I can't remember. But I'm gonna try to get another beta code and see if I can get on both. I'll actually have my PS4 on the 17th or 18th. So if I can, I'd like to try both. Oh. I'm gonna try and do both just so I can compare a little bit back and forth, and yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested, like, just from the server standpoint, if it's going to be any different. It shouldn't be, but yeah, just what it feels like, if it's any different between the two consoles.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so that's when those come out. They did also announce the special editions for the game. There's a collector's edition for $99.99 that includes a bunch of stuff, including the season. They're not calling it a season pass; they're calling it a expansion pass or something like that. Basically, it includes 2 expansions, I believe. And
You want the limited edition content real quick?
I don't. There's too much shit. I read it. I have it in front of me. I'm not reading it all. It's too much stuff.
There you go.
So that's a $100 one. Basically, and then there's a $150 one, which is called the Ghost Edition, I believe.
Yeah.
And that basically has everything that the normal limited edition does, except it has a replica of a ghost, which I believe is like a. The hell is the ghost?
It's that little thing that Peter Dinklage is.
Is that what it is? Okay.
That's it.
Because every time I hear ghost, I think of the damn purple little vehicle from Halo, which is really stupid that they use that name. So, that's literally the only thing I can picture when I hear ghost when in reference to a video game. So.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, those are the prices. I think MW just said that as of right now, Amazon is sold out of the PS4 one. Of the limited, I'm assuming not the limited. It must be the Ghost one.
It's the Ghost Edition, yeah.
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 I'm picking up
So,
the limited.
Good for them. They're gonna buy that stupid statue.
Well, I thought about it honestly, but 150 is just a little too steep for me, and I don't have room in my house for it. So.
Yeah.
But to those who will buy it, more power to you. I have no issue with it. Enjoy, I guess.
Ghost is also sold out on the Xbox One.
Is it the Ghost Edition now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the limited edition is going to be much more available. Basically because it doesn't have any special statues or anything. It's just extra content. And if you're planning on playing a lot of it, it does, like I said, it does have that expansion pack in it. The Destiny Expansion Pass is what they're calling it. There's 2 expansions planned, The Dark Below and House of Wolves, according to Amazon. And you get those with it. I think by itself it's like $35 or something anyway. So if you think you're going to play it a lot and you anticipate it, it might not be a bad idea.
Save yourself $5.
Oh, by the way,
Yep.
The Destiny beta is twice as long as the Xbox One.
No, it's
beta.
not, because there's 2 days that are down.
Yep.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
the
didn't read
20,
that
yeah,
part.
the 21st and 22nd are off. So basically they get it for about 3 days, and then it's down for a couple days, and then it's back up for everyone for the next 4.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
That makes sense then. Well, they still get twice as long. They get 3 more, but yeah, you're right.
Well, be like looking at the login screen going, well, shit.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I would really love them to allow you to download it ahead of time. God, that would be amazing, and just not turn the server on for the Xbox until it's live, because
Yeah.
let us take advantage of it. That'd be amazing. Let us download it. Just like Titanfall. They could shut the server off. We could just sit at the main menu, and then when the servers go live, we were back into it. For the beta.
Come on, start.
Yep.
Start, come
So
on.
that would be-
Just rock back
We're
and
like
forth.
hopping on a Chinese servers and stuff, try to get anything we can get.
Oh my god, it let me glimpse at the start screen.
Yeah, oh my god, so awesome.
That's Destiny's beta. I don't think I missed anything. There's not a whole lot of discussion involved in that one. That's just kind of information. In case you missed it, we obviously almost all of this stuff has threads on our forum. So if we think we're missing something, or you want to know more, just look for the forum. You can just search for Destiny, and it'll pop up, or just look at the first page of the games, and most of these are going to be in that first page. So, anything else on that one, guys? Other than we're excited, because I'm pretty sure most of us are. So, well, most of us who haven't tried it. Maybe Carnal's not as excited since he got to play it, but
No, I'm excited because I get to play with you guys. Shit, I only got to play with Mortimus. Who the fuck wants to play with Mortimus?
that's true.
Oh wait, Mortimus isn't here. Shouldn't make fun.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to. This is real quick. Sunset Overdrive. They put out a little more about Chaos Squad.
Little more.
Yeah, I mean they put a lot of information out, but the highlights of it basically are that it's a lot like. It's kind of a blended, like survival / mission based / horde, like Gears of War Horde. It looks like it could be really fun, especially if you have a group of actual friends playing and not with randoms, because obviously any cooperative game with randoms can be hit or miss, mostly miss probably. Yeah, it looks like, so how it's going to work is you get in your squad. It's up to 8 people, by the way, which is awesome. 8-person co-op in this is going to be fantastic, especially for people who, like us, who generally have bigger parties with these games. Not having to split up teams and parties. It's just, hey, you have 8 people in the party. Guess what? You can play with all 8, which is nice.
Alright.
Unlike Destiny, where it's 8 people in a party, but 3 people in a game party. So.
Yeah, it's 2 teams of 3 and 1 team of 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's.
Yeah.
You get in a party, it's seamless. I guess you can hop in and out of single and multiplayer at a whim. It doesn't really load or anything like that. You just kind of pop it up and you're in the game. You choose missions. Those missions, I believe, have different levels of chaos attached to them. The higher the chaos, the more difficult it is. But after you do a few missions, you get, and God, I cannot remember what it's called. You basically have a final sort of mission, and it's like a survival mode. Do you guys remember what it's called offhand without looking it up?
No.
I can't remember.
Got nothing.
All right. Well, yeah, we research and prepare on this podcast.
Yeah.
Basically, there's
Time.
a final mode where it's more like a horde mode and not like a mission-based one. You have to defend your sort of base, if you want to call it that. You can set up blockades and stuff like that. And the more chaos you have accumulated or did through your missions, the harder this mode will be, and the better the reward. So the higher the chaos, the harder the end mission will be, or level, we don't call it, and then the better the rewards and drops, I guess, will be. You know, you can get weapons in there. Anything you get in there carries over to your single player. So as soon as you're done with that, you hop back in your single player. You take everything with you. So sounds like they did a pretty good job as far as integrating it all. I don't have any complaints with what they've announced so far regarding the multiplayer. I don't know how you could. I mean, it's 8-player co-op with sort of all the cool things we like about like Gears of War and Halo and those kind of things dumped into one, and ridiculous over-the-top fun. So if you want to complain about it, yeah, I don't want to hear it. There's nothing to complain about yet. Wait till the game comes out.
You want to complain about it?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Then
up.
I'll hear about it. Yeah, not much more to say that. Any of you in here a Minecraft guy?
No.
Sure, why not?
So I'll let you talk about the Minecraft saves that have kind of popped up this last week.
Oh boy.
I play Minecraft every once in a
So you can make a world and you can save it, and then you can take that save from your 360 onto your Xbox One, or PS3 onto your PlayStation 4 when that becomes available.
Yep, that's pretty much all.
Yay!
Yep.
Oh, that's done.
Yep, Minecraft. Basically, in one sentence, Minecraft saves will transfer to your new consoles. That's a good thing for those of you who play Minecraft. That was kind of a big sticking point. I also believe it's going to be discounted if you own Minecraft on the first console. I believe it's going to be at a discounted price, but don't quote me on that. I think I remember reading that somewhere. So that's kind of cool and something that most people don't do. But you know, I think Notch probably has enough money based on his ridiculous Titanfall, his ridiculous sales of Minecraft that maybe he just doesn't need the extra money by charging
Yeah,
full
20
price.
or 30 million for an indie game.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, I think he's doing just
indie
fine.
game. That's some big ass Titanfall right there.
So, anyone know about the Sledgehammer news that wants to talk about it so I can give my voice a rest? If not, I'll go with it.
I have not heard on the
Alright, so I guess it's me.
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer had a quote. I can't remember if it was an interview or a video. Once again, we do lots of research here. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase it until I can dig up the actual quote. They're not going to mislead anyone about the graphics, and I think it was with OXM, so they actually, OXM is an official Xbox magazine. They said we're not going to mislead anyone about the graphics on Xbox One, and the reason they said that was because they're talking to an Xbox magazine. So don't read into the fact that they mentioned the Xbox.
Every single person has been doing so far on the internet because they have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah. So they specifically mentioned the Xbox One because they're talking to an Xbox publication, which makes perfect sense, and don't read into it. A little bit of a discussion point. With some of the news, especially with Ubisoft, for whatever reason, lately, whether you think they're vastly downgraded or slightly downgraded or maybe not at all, the general thought is that a lot of developers right now, and some of them have been doing it for years, like DICE, for instance, they'll show things on high-end PCs and at graphic levels that are obviously not attainable on consoles and don't really make that clear. Now, I don't care if they showcase it personally on PC, but put a little note at the bottom saying, this is PC footage. You know?
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Oh,
You know, you can overlay that little text at the bottom. Who's listening to music?
Could be my kid.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have any real thoughts on that? I guess I'd say basically their gist was, what you see is what you get. They're not trying to showcase something and then give you a downgraded version of it.
Honestly, it makes me want to buy Call of Duty Advanced Warfare more.
Yeah.
Or not
Yeah, I think
Sledgehammer.
they're just,
Well, at least
yeah, that's Sledgehammer.
I think they're just being confident about it. You know, that's what I get from it. They're just confident about what they have to show. You know.
Yeah. I mean, at least it makes you think of them in a better light. Whether or not you enjoy the game, it makes you go, well, at least someone's taking some minor responsibility for their actions. So I wish more people would do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it makes me feel happy about the situation because a big studio is finally doing that, and they're finally having the balls to step in and say that we're going to show or not mislead you.
Right.
Yep. So it looks like they're setting their targets at realistic levels and showing us those realistic levels because they're confident they're going to make it. Yeah, so that's all you can really take from it. It's not a drastic, megaton bomb or anything like that, but I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was refreshing to actually have someone come out and flat out say it and not dodge the question or dance around it, trying to basically not answer, which seems to be what most studios want to do. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, you've noticed definitely, like, let's say CD Projekt Red or some of the other big studios saying, we're trying to hit 1080p, 60 frames per second. We may or may not get there. So they haven't really been lying about resolution here lately. But, they won't tell you where their trailers are actually from if that's a PC we're watching, or they won't put you the descriptive text at the bottom.
And I think that's all it is. I don't think they were talking about lying. I think it was just a matter of not disclosing what system it was recorded.
Right. So. It's not lying, but at the same time, it's not informing the user base. And then they take it in all kinds of fantastical, directions that they want to take it and fanboy up the conversations. So that's not necessary to add to that.
Yep.
Just get it out of the way. Stop deceiving people intentionally or non-intentionally.
Well, it's similar to, I vaguely remember going back to E3 a little bit. In Microsoft's press conference, there were quite a bit of gameplay videos where they, on the bottom, it actually said Xbox One footage, stuff like that.
Right, almost every single one of them had a descriptive text.
Some of the ones that didn't, we found out after the fact were or weren't. For instance, the Witcher 3 demo that was on Xbox stage. Turns out that was actually running on Xbox One per CD Projekt Red. So, it's I think they're getting better because I think they've been burned too many times and they're sick of the backlash of the interwebs. So
Yeah.
I think they are trying to finally learning their lesson of not, just stop. It's really annoying. They did it with Battlefield 3 and 4, showcasing their first reveal and then not telling anyone that it was actually like super high-end spec PC. It's like, why don't you just tell us that? No one's going to be mad about that. Like, oh, it looks really great on high-end PC. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it looks like on console. It's not
I guess those guys with 2 or 3 Titans are going to be fucking ecstatic.
Yeah, but
and honestly, I think this has to do with Phil Spencer as well.
Yeah.
He seems to be a lot more honest as soon as he took over. It seems to be a lot more straightforward with everything. I mean, like E3 when he just showed games. And I think the honesty and the showing it actually on the Xbox One console has a lot to do with him taking over as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think they need to be called out on anything that they're doing or not doing. If they can do something that's quite easy to, explain, then that's what they're going to do. No sense in getting called out for stupid crap any longer. So...
It seems to be mostly third parties right now. I think the first parties in general have learned their lesson, for the most part.
Yeah.
So, Sony hasn't pulled a Killzone 2 recently, so... which is probably the most hilarious of the misleading graphics of all time.
MotorStorm was pretty bad, too, but not a lot of people remember that game.
That's because it was a launch game and it was junk.
It sold 3 million units!
Yeah. Because there was nothing else to buy.
Yeah, fair enough on that one.
That and
Drive Club.
Heavenly Sword, I think, were like the 2 only decent launch games. There was their Dragon's Lair or something like that, or Lair, that motion sensor, or the 6-axis control that didn't work.
Everyone's like, that game's gonna be so awesome, and then it's like completely trash.
It was the bad thing was they didn't fix it for 6 months, and people were like, it's still kind of not. It sucks.
I didn't play any of those games. I didn't own a
They
PS3.
just removed the 6-axis.
I was excited for it. Then I saw the reviews and heard how crappy the controls were, and I was pretty disappointed.
Yeah, it looked cool. I remember I actually worked at Target at that point, and they always had the demo playing, and I'm like, that game looks cool, but everything I read about it says it's not that cool.
It's not.
Stay away. It has dragons. That's cool, but that's where the cool
Just
is.
about everything attached.
The 360 and the PS3 launches weren't exactly stellar when it comes to games. So anyone who was complaining about the PS4 and Xbox One launch needs to realistically go back and look at the last gen launches, because comparatively the PS4 and Xbox One launches were much, much better and diverse than the last one. So, I mean, there was still some decent games for both systems at launch.
And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. So, this is literally the best launch we've ever had for a system.
Both from first party to third party, everything else. Say what you want about NAC, but at least it filled that niche of more of a family kind of, adventure type of game. Whatever. There was something for everyone at launch. So I'm not ripping NAC. I'm not.
NAC?
No, but it filled a niche. It was a hole, and they filled it with a game that was at least average. It wasn't a terrible game. It just wasn't a great game. But at least it filled that family adventure type of game, kind of like Cameo did for the 360. Was Cameo an amazing game? No, but it was a fun game. So
sure, it was a colorful, bright beat 'em up.
Like NAC.
Pretty much.
Like NAC.
So yeah, we're way off topic now. Let's get back on. Cliffy B.
You skipped Airtight.
Oh yeah, Airtight. That's a sad one.
Did anybody actually play Soul Suspect?
I meant to. I just haven't had time or the energy or the want to spend $60 on another game at the moment because of how much is coming out. But yes, Airtight Games. That's their most recent game was Murdered Soul Suspect, which got okay reviews. I I think it got like average of maybe 65 to 70, maybe 75, somewhere in that range. Not a lot above 8. A couple of reviewers gave it 8, 8.5. But it did do some cool things. Everyone who watches the videos saw that it was kind of a unique take, kind of a detective sort of LA Noire type of game, but with Ghost.
But you're dead.
Yep. So it looked cool, and I actually really wanted to buy it. It just came out at the time right next to why can't I think what it was? Yes, Watch Dogs. So I was just too busy with that, and I just spent $60 plus like $30 on the collector's edition strategy guide and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I just can't justify it. But the sad news is that Airtight Games is closed. A month after the game comes out, it's closed. Now the other games they've made, and of course the site's not loading. There we go. So yeah, Dark Void and Quantum Conundrum are probably their 2 other biggest games. Anyone played Dark Void? I actually played it and thought it was a decent game.
Dark Void was the one with that weird thing on the guy's hand. It looked like the spinning blade.
No, you're thinking of Dark Sector.
No, Dark
Dark
Void.
Sector, sorry, yeah.
Dark Void is the very vertical game, if I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, I played that one too. That was pretty decent.
Yep. And it was very unique because of the way the movement and stuff worked. It was very horizontal or vertical game as opposed to more of your typical horizontal. So what I will give Airtight Games credit for is having somewhat innovative thoughts in their games. They don't always execute them perfectly, but I give them credit for trying new things. Could they have all been a little more polished? Probably, but none of it. Like I said, none of these games reviewed absolutely poorly. They just were average games with some neat things in them. But yeah,
Quantum Conundrum wasn't bad either.
I don't think I've actually played that one, so.
It's very Portal-ish. It's pretty good.
But either way, it's sad to see any studio close, especially ones that don't go with the flow and create the same shit over and over. So even though their games weren't great and I haven't played their newest one, it's still sad to see, those type of people lose their job basically. So hopefully some of those catch on. Maybe they'll get hired by the next guy we're going to talk about. Some of them. So the next news topic, unless you guys have more on Airtight, there's really not. I don't know if none of us have played the game, so.
I don't think the studio was doing well to begin with. None of their titles sold incredibly well, and they've been at it since 2004.
Yeah, I'm not saying they shouldn't have closed. I'm just saying it's sad to see developers who actually make unique games that don't sell lose their jobs, because it just kind of reinstates if it's not a popular sort of shooter or is it marketed to hell, you're not going to sell enough copies.
If it's not Call of Duty, it's no good.
Fortunately, part of it. So, let's go on to the next one then. Sorry, I want to make sure we get enough time to talk about some of the other ones. So. Cliffy B, Cliff Blazinski, I believe I'm saying his name right. He announced his new studio name. It's called Boss Key Studios or Boss Key Productions. I can't remember which one. And we already knew the name of his code name or whatever. It's Project Bluestreak, I believe. No one knows what it is yet, unless something came out today that I missed. Supposedly in the next few days he's supposed to show something, right? Like reveal it, basically.
Maybe we should ask Mr. X.
Yeah, God. And that's hopefully the last time we talk about him on here. Yeah.
Hey, gotta hit him with another punch. I mean, Jesus. Anyway,
so Cliffy B, obviously, if you don't know who Cliffy B is, he's sort of the father of Gears of War. He worked for Epic. I can't remember if he wasn't the game. Was he the producer of Gears? I can't remember what he was. He was very high up, obviously, in Epic. Made a lot of money. I like to call him the Michael Bay of the games industry. He's very dude bro. He has a hot wife. He drives sports cars. He's sort of a dude.
He was lively and he was entertaining, which made you enjoy the game even a little bit more.
Yep.
Well, it didn't add anything to it. He wasn't necessary for the industry, but
no, I mean, I think
it's always kind of.
He had a lot of design choices in that game, and that let's be honest, Gears of War was an awesome game. Just
to throw this in there and sneak it in, there will be new information on Project Bluestreak in exactly 12 hours, 45 minutes, and 24 seconds.
So tomorrow morning.
Yep, that's the timer.
Possibly by the time a lot
We'll
of
talk about it next week.
Possibly by the time
Yeah.
a lot of you guys listen to this, you'll have already heard more than what we know right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll talk more about it next week, like I said.
Internet, yay!
Yay!
So yeah. Not much you can say,
I'm
but-
happy though.
Yeah.
I'm happy though. Cliff Lindsay's coming back. Some perceive him as kind of a douche. He is a
Yeah,
douche,
he's kinda-
but yeah. But he basically fathered Gears of War, and that's one of my favorite franchises of all time. So I'm happy he's coming back to video games.
I don't know, perceiving him as a douche, I just think he comes off as a little too energetic, and people see that as overconfidence.
He comes across as
I
kind of
just
a
think
douche.
he's
Okay,
fat.
someone's overconfident and arrogant, they're a douche. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like him.
Maybe he enjoys what he does more than you enjoy living.
I
Doesn't mean he's a douche. Just means he's happy.
no, I agree with
Well,
Carnal on
his
this one.
shot at NeoGaf is douchey. I'm sorry. I mean, it's at NeoGaf, and NeoGaf is this fucking total bunch of
That's-
idiots.
I'm not gonna fault him for
Yeah.
that. I enjoyed that a lot. So I
Yeah, I know, but it's still a remark that an asshole would make, and I don't blame him for it. I'm happy. I laughed my ass off,
Yeah.
but
hey, he is an asshole. Follow him on Twitter.
yeah.
I mean he doesn't hide
Exactly.
it. He's not pretending to be someone he's.
I'm not saying I hate him because he's a douche. He just acts douchey.
I'm agreeing
and
with you,
sometimes I
Carnal.
think it's funny.
Relax.
No. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to MW's point.
Ah, right now. I like the douche, so fuck it. Let's go.
Well, so do I. That's what I meant.
all right. As long as we're in agreement. We
Yeah.
like the douche.
Anyone not happy he's coming back? Would rather see him stay out.
I bet his restaurant would be pretty cool. I'd like to try it out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I saw something. He's got this cool restaurant in his hometown he's
He
making.
saws your steaks with the fucking.
Hey, if he puts a
Okay.
Gears of War logo on my steak, I'm so eating.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Do it.
Just seared
You
into
saw-
it like a brand.
He's
Yeah.
cutting the chops with the fucking chain gun or whatever.
I'm there, man. Let's go.
Alright, so 12 hours from right now. So it looks like 10 a.m.-ish
Yeah.
Central Time, wherever that is for you. We'll find more about that, so we're not going to talk any more about it because I don't think there's much more to say until we know more.
No.
Before we go into some of the bigger topics, I want to give... I think it was just Cabin who wasn't here last week, right?
Yeah.
For who's
Yeah.
currently here.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
want to give Cabin a chance to answer a question that I asked everyone last week. I also said I was going to readdress this to make sure no one changed their mind. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Duke 'em.
No. I'm not
Duke
talking
Nukem,
about...
Captain
Okay.
Shepard.
So I asked everyone, for people who don't know, don't rehash too much because I don't want to bore people.
Yeah.
So I asked everyone what their favorite character in the game was and why. This could be anything from just the way they look, their character design, personality, whatever it happens to be, their voice work. It doesn't matter. For whatever reason, what is your favorite character in a game? It could be a 16 or an 8-bit, character, just because of how the character was in the game. It doesn't matter. How would you answer?
Oh man, this is tough.
Don't think too much about it.
Okay, I'm just gonna. The game that really probably just seared into my mind because it was so scary at the time was the first Resident Evil. So I'd probably have to say, like, just as playing as him as Chris Redfield from that particular game, because I know I don't. Well, he's not bad in Resident Evil 5 either, but
Yeah, he's okay.
yeah.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's just probably a character that I'll always have, like, I don't know, an interest in, just because it's just part of the childhood, just it was such a scary game to play. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a good game. I woke my mom up when I had a buddy over when I was a kid.
Did you
Great.
scream?
Yes, I did. And
Oh, dude, that game is.
I think it was
that game
Resident
scared the
Evil
shit.
2 was the one I did it in. That was when I walked through the room where all the birds bust through the window. I
Oh,
seriously about shit
yeah.
my pants. So
Fucking Lisa in Resident Evil Remake, dude. That scared the shit out of me. That character that walked around and chased you throughout the hallways. Oh, Jesus,
yeah.
man.
yeah, creepy games.
Yep.
So that's your final answer, Kevin?
Yeah.
All right.
And I guess I'm actually kind of curious to see if anyone picked anybody that wasn't in a third-person type of game. You know what I mean, like a first-person
I did.
game.
I did.
Because I think there's. Oh, okay. Oh, is it Halo?
I picked Cortana.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you don't really see her too much. Oh, I guess you kind of do.
Well, she's an
Yeah.
AI representation. She's not really a
Yeah.
physical character.
I mean, she's still a character, just no one you play as.
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
So.
and that's
I-
fine. Yeah.
I picked Snake, so.
Snake!
And MW picked Duke Nukem because he's an idiot.
I mean, I'm completely sick, and you guys can't even. It was probably because I was sick. You couldn't understand the joking tone, but. Yeah.
And then he picked a character that I don't even
It's
understand.
awesome.
It's you.
Exactly.
I'm
I'm
not
awesome.
gonna-
I don't think you understand.
His other pick was Shepard, by the way, for anyone who didn't listen last week. He picked Shepard from Mass Effect, which we called a cop-out because that character can be so many different characters, and it's not really like
Yeah,
a specific
I get
character
everything.
design, so you're giving him
I
crap
get
about
one
that.
person. I get everything.
Yeah.
How am I the loser here? I win.
We called him
I have a-
egotistical because
I have
it's him.
I have a great voice actor, both male and female. Huge amounts of outfits that I can choose from
Okay.
for whatever reason.
All right.
And you get
Well, I
the
didn't know
best
what you're
storyline
into.
ever.
So all of our choices are good except for MW's. So to each their own. So we'll just leave it at that. I didn't want to spend too much time on this because this was just more of a we'll give Cabin a chance.
Yeah.
Shepard is a good character. I just thought it didn't fit this. That's all. I was just giving you shit. So we have a couple of topics. You know, I was gonna wait for some people to be back, but this is the second time in a row they haven't been able to join us. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ask this one since I brought up Cortana and you said Halo. Let's you know, with the Master Chief Collection coming later this year, out of curiosity, what is your guys' favorite Halo game of the numbered series? Unless you absolutely have to name one that's not one of the numbered, including ODST and Reach. But preferably, unless you can't, one of the 1 through 4 numbers.
I do have a quick question. Do we want to focus this specifically on story or multiplayer?
Doesn't matter.
Or both.
Whatever game overall was your
yeah.
favorite. So, you know, maybe you hated the story of 3 but loved the multiplayer. Whatever it happens to be, whatever one you enjoyed the most.
How about your favorite and your least favorite?
You can do that if you do it quick.
All right.
Okay.
So, who wants to go first?
Well, I'll go first because I only played the first 2, and
Well,
and I'm gonna say I like the first. Just overall, even multiplayer included, just because I got together with my friends we held LAN parties and all that stuff. Since Xbox Live wasn't out yet.
Here.
And I just remember having like such a good time with the multiplayer maps, and I liked the co-op campaign and the main story, and yeah, I would have to say the first one's my favorite out of the 2 that I played.
back then you didn't know what you were missing with Live. Live wasn't that
Exactly.
big of a deal.
Yeah.
So how can you know that you're not missing the most
Well,
amazing thing in the world if you've never tried it before?
I gotta side with Cabin here though because
Hey, I gotta hang on. How does a virgin know he's missing out on the greatest thing in the world? Because he knows. You don't have to experience something to know that's
But
great.
because
you know what?
everybody tells him, if no one told him, he would never know, would he?
But
That's
you
not
know
the-
what? There's something special about getting together with like 16 of your
Yes,
buddies.
Yeah.
exactly.
And
That's what I
all
was
in a
going to back
basement
up.
with everyone's bringing
That's
over
what
their
I was
TVs.
Yeah.
There is something special about having those people in the other room. So if you get pissed off, you can walk in there and slap them in the face. I'm just saying.
I agree. I felt some of that way in this podcast a couple times.
All right.
Ugh.
So does that mean number 2 is your least favorite?
I'm not even gonna say there's a least favorite.
Okay. You didn't
Yeah,
play
I mean-
enough of them. That's fine.
I didn't play enough. Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
So, Carnal?
Oh yeah, I'll go. My favorite Halo, and this might come to a surprise, but I actually really enjoyed the story of 4. The multiplayer, maybe not. I still think 2's multiplayer reigns supreme over all of them. But story-wise, I really like number 4. And also graphic-wise. You didn't say specifically why you like each Halo, so that's probably my 2 picks.
So wait, 4 was your favorite, and what was your least favorite?
I can't decide on my favorite because I
Oh,
like the
gotcha.
multiplayer too, and I like the story in 4.
So you're tying it,
Um,
but then you don't get a least favorite then.
My no, because my least favorite is the story in Halo 2.
Is it really the story though, or is it just the ending?
Oh, that. Yeah, you're right. Probably the ending.
Yeah, the lack of ending, I guess, is maybe a better way to describe the ending of that.
Yes.
So
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I was just really excited because they continued the Halo series, and that's why I like 4 so much. But
fair.
I don't know. I thought it was good.
All right, MW.
Well, Halo 3 is my favorite because I didn't really own an original Xbox until later on, so Halo 3 was the reason I bought my Xbox 360. You know, I played a ton of it. It's where I got my friends list started, so how can you not? So I had the
agree.
most fun with it. Least favorite was probably the Halo 2 story, but not the reason the Carnal said. I wasn't really a fan of playing as the Arbiter. I didn't really care for his story.
Fair enough.
It was kind of a cop-out from my opinion. So, but I've had fun with every single one of the games, and I can't wait to play them again.
Does that mean you're going to hate Halo 5 because the Arbiter seems to be in it?
Oh no, I don't hate the Arbiter as a character. I didn't like playing him.
I'm just giving you shit, man.
Eh.
Your answers.
Bring them all on. I'll do it.
8-player co-op.
Alright. I guess it's my turn. So I am completely torn. I could honestly pick any of the 4 and give you a reason why it's my favorite. So to pick one is tough, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say 2 because of the general experiences that I had playing it. I was in college at the time, and similar to your LAN parties, you could plug into your wall basically, and we were all kind of on the same switch or network hub, whatever you want to call it. So anyone in my dorm floor could, anyone who had an Xbox could play LAN.
I think alcohol was influencing his good time.
Of course, I was underage, so of course I wasn't drinking, guys.
Yeah, of course.
But
okay.
yes, lots of good times. You could have your door open, you could yell at the person down the hall, and similar to like how Cabin said with his LAN parties. And we had Halo 2, at the time. Live was out, but we didn't play a lot on Live because all of our friends were in our dorm, and it was much faster to play on LAN. So if I have to pick, that's my favorite one, and that has more to do with the multiplayer than it does the actual single player. The single player was just okay in it, but yeah, the multiplayer, I played hours and hours and hours in that game. But like I said, I can honestly pick any of the 4. I enjoyed 4 for the reason that Carnal said. For all those reasons, I enjoyed 1, because it was eye-opening for console first-person shooters. So 3 was amazing on Xbox 360. And it was like the first time that a party system worked and worked really freaking well. It was Halo 3, and I wish games... Nothing has done it better. And that was an early 360 game. Nothing has done a party system better than Halo 3. I challenge you to find a better one. So, everything was amazing in that game. Whatever. I don't have a least favorite, but like everyone else said, although Halo 2 is my favorite, probably the Halo 2 story/ending is my least favorite of the entire series of 4. But the overall game is still my favorite, so it's hard to... Yes, my favorite game is also my least favorite of the series for 2 completely different reasons. So
that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is. So that was just... Yeah, that's ours. If I remember, I'll ask Landshark and Average. I don't even know if Landshark's a huge Halo guy or either of them are. I can't remember.
Oh, I think they've all played.
Yeah, everyone's
They
played. I
might
just can't
not
remember if they're
be
big
huge
fans.
guys,
So
yeah.
So I'm going to insert the code word right here, and the code word is Dreamcast, as in the Sega Dreamcast. So make sure you private message me, Chanogram, and go ahead and include MWJW as well. Note that there's not first come first serve. It's whoever sends me this prior to Friday or by end of day on Friday, US time, will be in the drawing, and it'll be a random drawing, and I will work out what you get with whoever wins, whether it's straight Xbox points or money, I should say, or if it's a game, if it's someone overseas, then I can't give them the money easily, but we'll work that out. So Dreamcast, private message me. But all right, so now into a little more serious discussion. Nothing life altering, but not nearly as fun as what's your favorite Halo game. So this last week and the week before, to a certain degree, Yoshida, who is the CEO of he's not
PlayStation. PlayStation.
the games division of Sony,
Yeah.
not Sony. I can't remember who the actual CEO of Sony is right now. Is that Kaz?
Kaz Hirai, yes.
Does he still has his job?
For another year or so, yeah. He promised, so if he doesn't deliver on his promises, he's out next year for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he had a couple comments recently. We talked about one last week. Yoshida, what's his first name?
Shuhei?
Shuhei Yoshida.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I just call him Yoshida, I guess. That's fine. Shuhei Yoshida. He made a comment 2 weeks ago about AAA games versus indies, basically saying, well,
I got nothing.
yeah, the gist of it was there's not going to be as many AAA games. They're going to rely heavily on indies, and there's lots of indies available. That was the general gist of his comment. This week, I can't remember, in some sort of an interview, I don't think it was on Twitter, talked about...
I have the quote if you want it.
Sure, go ahead.
We've been saying that the number of AAA games might be getting smaller because the cost of development for AAA is getting higher. But there's so many indie games and great games coming out almost every week or every other week. We're seeing it on the PS4. I hope you're seeing it as well.
Yeah. So, take that for what it is. We talked about it last week. I'm not going to get into that one. But I just want for context. This week he had a comment regarding how many of their games make money or lose money or make a lot of money. And basically what he's saying is 4 out of 10 games that Sony makes, or funds, however you want to call it,
break even or above,
are at least break even. He said basically, in general, a couple will make their money back, maybe make a little money, but basically 1 or 2 games out of those 10 are going to be the heavy hitters that actually cover the costs and losses of all the other games. So I think we have a couple differing opinions on here. I'll give mine, then I'll let MW and the rest of you guys give yours. I won't argue with you guys. So it doesn't bother me. It's pretty stupid for a company that's struggling to say stuff like that. When you're trying to have investors be okay with you funding new IPs and new titles and everything that cost millions of dollars to make, to come out and say, oh yeah, but only like 4 of these actually make any money. Probably not the best thing to do when your company's losing money hand over fist. Just throwing that out there. Maybe you want to keep that to yourself.
How do you think they were losing money hand over fist to begin with?
Hang on, I'll give you your chance. Don't worry. But the thing is, I don't mind this at all, simply because I think it's more par for the course than people want to believe. I just think for some stupid reason he decided to be honest about it, which probably wasn't the best thing to do because it stirred up controversy as well as probably didn't fly real well with some of the investors and shareholders. I don't think it's pretty common. I think lots of games cost money to make. So a lot of these games don't sell a lot. They don't have the marketing. They're just niche. Whatever they happen to be, they don't sell a lot. They don't make their money back, or barely break even. But a lot of these companies rely on their heavy hitters. Microsoft, Gears, Halo, etc. Activision with Call of Duty. They rely on these heavy hitters to make their money in an effort to help fund their IPs, their new IPs. If you just go new IP after new IP, you're not going to survive in the industry. It won't happen because new IPs just typically don't sell enough unless it's massive and marketed like crazy, like Destiny or Watch Dogs. It didn't bother me. I think it was just stupid on his part for a company that's struggling so mightily as Sony. And they are struggling as a whole. PlayStation might not be hurting too bad, but the rest of the company is floundering. That's all I'll say for now. I'll let you guys have your say as well. So,
honestly, my opinion on it, I'm kind of with you. I don't really care. It's a stupid thing to say, like you were talking about. I mean, it's gonna probably hurt them with investors and etc. But as for the games, like would they say only like 1 or 2 games makes money out of 10?
1 or 2 makes their pure profit to fund the rest of those games that do not.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean that's probably how it works with a lot of games. I mean, I mean, what are we to know? We're not like freaking insiders or we don't really. I don't think any of us knows the correct grasp of how video games sell and what they fund and all that things like that. So honestly, this doesn't bother me at all. I think he slipped. I don't think he should have said it because people are going to take it the wrong way. But hey, with this generation of gaming, everyone's taking shit the wrong way, so I can't really be surprised.
Yeah.
Cabin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to say about this. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's information that we really didn't need to know, but he said it, and it was negative information. So,
Yeah.
there it is.
Before MW goes, he also made another comment that I don't have the exact quote. I'm not going to talk about it other than to say what the comment was. He made a comment about not understanding people's... he didn't say obsession, but he said why people like AAAs so much. Is that right, MW? I can't remember what the exact...
Right,
I don't want to
right. He doesn't understand people who exclusively like AAAs and who are not big indie supporters. Is basically the idea. Yeah.
Okay, so just to throw that out there too, that was also added onto this.
Well, then I'd add more to mine. I thought we were just talking about the game.
Well, it kind of goes with it. I just forgot about it. That was my fault.
Yeah.
We can always do that right after. I mean, it's not a huge topic of discussion.
You can add on right now, Carnal. Go for it.
Go for it.
If we're talking about AAA games over indies, more games the better. As for indies, I would rather have AAA games. Yes, that's true. But if there's a really good indie, a good indie's a good indie. I'll play it. My whole feeling is that the more indie games process, though, the more we'll start seeing indie games that are of higher quality. So, I don't know. I'd rather have AAA games like Halo and big franchises like that, but I'm not really against indie games shining more than maybe they should.
Right.
I'll counter that argument real quick. You're never going to see an indie pull ahead of a AAA game in terms of quality, in terms of length, in terms of story, in terms of voice acting, because those things take money, and that's one thing indies don't have. They might have support.
Didn't say that.
I mean, you're going to get innovation out of indie. You're always going to get innovation, but that's where it stops. Fun. I forgot you can always have fun.
Yes, but put it this way: you make an indie game, it sells well. A studio sees you as a very big contender in making a AAA game. That studio is going to be recognized more. So if they are making great indie games that could potentially be
no
turned
longer
into
indie.
Yes, but you started off with indie, but the only way you can become a AAA is if you're starting off with good indies. That's what I mean.
Not the only way, but yeah, it's one of the
not
major
the only
ways
way,
to
but
get
yeah.
Sure. I'll definitely give you that one. Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? I mean, look at PopCap Games. They made Flash games. You know, they made nothings. And then all of a sudden, they are a huge EA bought and paid for, you know.
Yeah,
here's your Peggle 3, 4, or 5.
Well, it's also the same with the creators that made Alien Hominoid and the people that created Castle Crashers. They started off with Flash.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, sure. A lot of the guys back in the day started off with Flash. It was the easiest way to get in.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you want to play a game? Here's Flash. But, yeah, definitely. Okay, so getting back to the 4 out of 10. As a gamer, I want to see more games, and I want to see people try more things. But the one thing that I'm really having a problem with that Chanogram isn't understanding is this isn't an indie studio we're talking about. This isn't a small corporation. This is Sony. This is a $20 billion, used to be $120 billion corporation. And they're talking about their first-party studios. Not third-party, not second, first-party studios. But when you have that kind of money, your first job should be to recognize your audience, what size that audience is, and build your game around how much you perceive to make in profit. If 4 out of your 10 games are not making a profit, you're not doing your job. You're failing, and you're part of the reason that they're you're going to go downhill. We want more games, but we don't want to see studios close. We don't want to see these guys go out of jobs. So maybe they need to tune down what they're doing in terms of the size and quality of their game, perhaps.
Then you're
to
talking
meet
about
with the
making them
market.
more like indie games.
Well, then that's what has to be done. If they don't sell, what's the point in making it, really?
I just want to throw
To
this
close
in
the studio?
We don't know
it's
if
not
it's
good.
just Sony that only makes profit off
Yeah,
4th
they're the only ones that said anything. But
Well, right. They're the
Yeah.
only ones that said anything. But
Microsoft could do the same thing. It might just be what's natural in the gaming industry.
for publishers, for big
Yeah.
publishers.
Yeah.
that's a possibility. But I'm just making it an isolated island, Sony only, right here.
So
Because we don't know. We don't.
here's your issue.
So
You just basically contradicted yourself with something you refuted Carnal with. So you're telling them they need to spend less money because their target audience is smaller because maybe it's a niche style game. Now you're basically saying that the only big budget games you're ever going to see are first person shooters and Uncharted. So I'm sorry, but I still want to see AAA games that take chances. Otherwise, we wouldn't have Dead Space. We wouldn't have
No.
Watch
I
Dogs.
said as a gamer, I want to see that.
Yeah,
But as a business, you're stupid.
I don't know. If they're making enough money in their big hitters to to fund the rest and then some and still make some profit on their games,
Then what happened to all the studios Sony shuttered?
they didn't shutter any. They laid off some people, but that's pretty much everyone's been laying off people right now.
And that
Yeah,
could be a
during
downfall
the
from
PS3
their
era,
other
they shuttered
their
4
other
to 6
branches.
studios.
Yeah, they're also being pinched because of Sony in general right now.
Sure. But the problem is you're not going to be able to keep all those people. Maybe you should go back and look at your market audience a little bit closer when you release games,
Then there's
so that you don't lose as much money. 4 to 10 that's terrible.
but if you're talking about
Now,
making
if you're
smaller
going like
games, you're
A 6 out of 10 margin, that's usually acceptable because you have more games making profit than losing. You can't keep betting and hoping that your games are going to sell. That's it's not smart. No businessman in the world is going to accept that.
this
Yes, but then you're only making first-person shooters, Zelda games, and Halo games. You're never trying anything new. Sometimes it's gonna fail, and then you're gonna rely on your heavy
No.
hitters to make
But
better.
all
more profit.
those games still sell. All those games sell.
yes,
They just don't sell what Sony expected them to. That is my problem.
how do you know
Stop
what they expected them to? Don't you think there's actually a slight possibility that they don't expect every single game to make a ton of money? That's a perfectly in the entertainment industry. You're thinking of it in terms of like a real straight up business. The entertainment industry is a whole separate beast. It's still a business, but even movie studios know that not every single thing they do is going to make money. Sure, their goal is to make money, but they know flat out that not everything is going to make money. There's going to be some failures, and they need their big guns to rake in the money so they can cover the losses and then some.
That's why
Right,
some
right.
go release straight to DVD. Because they're not gonna
What?
make money in the theaters.
Right, but they know that. That's why they go straight to DVD. I think that Sony should pull back and look at their audience a little bit tighter. The problem is you're arguing against two different sides of myself. I want to see more games. I want to see bigger games because I like AAAs more than I like indies. But at the same time, I really don't want to see Sony close because they screwed up 1 or 2 years in a row, and all of a sudden they have no money left.
But they're not.
They went from they lost a ton of money this quarter.
They didn't
but
lose a ton. They lost some, and it was a launch year where they're making not really any money on the actual console. They're still generally successful in the gaming industry. They're just their parent company is struggling.
Sure.
You want to know what my actual opinion about this whole Yoshida crap is? And I think it's a sketchy again. And I know I don't want to like go there with Sony, but honestly, I think Yoshida is announcing this shit because he wants, since they, like MW said, and we know that they're struggling financially, he's trying to get the crowd on his side about indies.
Yeah, well, that's obvious.
Therefore, they won't bitch.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
they won't bitch anymore about AAA's not coming out. And then we have this whole revolution of indies coming on. So, I mean...
It's a cheap way.
That's...
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a cheap way to get games on your system.
Oh,
indies pass the buck
That's a
on to the
big
indie
way
developers because most indie developers don't get funded by Sony or Microsoft. Some do, but most don't. Most are done on their own or crowdfunded.
It goes right along with that comment. I don't get why all of you like AAA games so much. I mean, that's shooting people right in the heart. That's like saying, okay, come on the indie side so we don't have to spend so much frickin' money to make AAA games for you.
So I should get my PlayStation 4 some big thick rim monocles because you say they're going hipster.
Pretty
what
much.
we're saying?
That's what
Alright.
it seems like. That's what it looks like in my opinion.
Well, I mean, either way, we can all agree here. He should have not said that. That's it.
Yeah.
That 4 out of 10 shouldn't even have been mentioned. Sure, he could have mentioned we don't make as much profit as we would like per game, but those profits that we do make are put into funding new artistic games.
Yeah.
That's a fine comment right there. But I kind of suspected this for a while, and I'm just like, oh god, he put a number on it. Oh, that hurts.
But to me, everything he says seems planned out and methodical. He said that their games don't make a lot of money and they don't make a lot of profit off of them. So, hey, let's get that behind indies. Because indies don't cost as much. So, I mean, it just seems like a sketchy thing that Sony's trying to do again, in my opinion. And yes, I'm a little bit biased against Sony, but I can't help but see
you're
that.
the only one here that's got a PlayStation 4.
Not anymore.
Just sell her?
Yeah.
Well, hey, yeah.
Nothing there for me, man. I don't. I'll get one next year.
Should have sold it to me.
Yeah, I probably could have got more than I got.
Would have cost me less, and it would have given you more.
Yeah.
But
either way.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like the whole situation. I don't think it should have been talked about. It's not something that the consumer needed to know, especially not the quote-unquote exact numbers. So,
Kevin.
But I do think they need to hold their money a little tighter to their chest, considering how limiting it is, or how much they have of a limit of it, and maybe pull back their game design a little bit, and I guess focus on indies more.
Kevin,
yeah.
You're quiet over there. Anything else to add?
I mean Yoshida's. I mean, I agree with Carnal that I mean he's really. I think he's really doing two things. He's trying to get PlayStation owners on the side of indies because they are investing in AAA games, but it costs a lot of money. It's gonna be they're gonna try to do low risk, high reward, which will be like Uncharted 4. They already have a huge fan base. It's going to cost a lot of money to make. It's going to take a long time to make. But meanwhile, enjoy all the indie games.
Yeah,
so I think that's really what he's just trying to do here. And it's nothing really new philosophically. I mean, obviously, these AAA games are going to take a long time to make. They're going to cost a lot of money. I think Sony might be a little pinched on cash. When it comes to they're not going to push out five different AAA games.
Might be is an understatement. They are strapped on cash. I mean, that's a fact. So.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a smart. I mean, it's smart for what's troubling the company right now, but it's still sketchy. So.
And Sony's also they have their own indie. I don't know if I would call it indie, but they have their smaller
development teams.
Yeah, they have their smaller dev teams. Making Flower and stuff like that. So and those are good games. So I mean, yeah, I think they're just trying to encourage and their gamers to partake in the smaller scale games, and see the value.
Enjoy the small things in life. Not everything can be, AAA. Is what he's saying.
He's like a pusher, like a dealer, trying to get you to try a little bit of crack first.
Yeah, exactly.
On the crack.
What he's doing isn't unreasonable. It's just the way he said it was kind of detrimental to.
Yeah.
The thing, like Sony fans, like the die-hard Sony fans that love nothing else and are just, ooh, I want to suck Yoshida's dick, are gonna eat it up too. That's the sad thing. They're gonna buy into this whole movement and then they're gonna spread it like cancer. That's what Sony's been doing most of the time, I think.
They will create I think they are already creating a hipster movement, like the indie game movement, which isn't a terrible thing, but it is kind of just like a blindness, like a certain level of blindness to that, by just saying whatever you guys say.
I still don't understand why anybody would buy a brand new machine for the indies.
Yeah, I was about to say something about that.
I have on my phone. I have an older computer. I have a laptop. I have a Game Boy sitting around here somewhere. If I want an Indy, I know where to get that Indy. It's not my $400 or $500 brand new next gen high end system. Nope.
Essentially, they're turning into Kindle Fire TV, and Ouya. I mean, that seems like the console they're trying to turn into.
Such a big market you want to take down. You can take down that
right?
big bad Ouya.
I just don't get. I mean, I get it. I mean, it's kind of smart because they don't have the money, but it's really sketchy, and I just hope people are smarter than that. They're not, but I hope they are.
People enjoy what they enjoy. I don't fault anyone for loving indie games or the smaller.
Well, no, neither do I.
If they truly enjoy indies and that's why they like their PS4, then whatever, more power to you.
Yeah.
I just mean the people that are just backing Sony no matter what. It's those people that are like so wrapped up into Sony for them being Sony and not Microsoft, not the people who actually enjoy their indie games.
I mean, like that one guy that wrote the article about, well, this is why Sony loves us so much more than Microsoft, because they're willing to lose money.
You think they're actually trying to lose money?
That's a good follow-up question.
That's this guy
They're
wrote.
not trying.
Sony
They're
loves
willing
us.
to lose money, is what he said, which is still not good. But that kind of goes back to what I said though about the entertainment industry, knowing that not everything you do is going to make money, but that in the same regard, you have to have your big guns to come back and fall back on. So you know that hey, I might not make money on this one. Hopefully, I'll break even at least. But I got Uncharted coming out next year, and that's going to recoup pretty much all of that cost and then some. So it's the entertainment industry is a goofy beast in general. I mean, it's kind of a messed up industry, both in movies and music and video games now. And yes, video games used to not. I never would have included them until like the last 3 or 4 years probably. But video games are starting to be more and more like Hollywood, which probably isn't a good thing for most people.
No.
So,
No, it's not.
and unfortunately, you're going to see less and less risk from these, because games do cost more, just like movies cost a ridiculous amount of money to make now. You're going to see less and less IPs. So, if this is what it takes, and that's knowing you're going to lose some money on a few of these games, but you're still willing to try it just to see, because every once in a while you do get a new IP that's kind of out of the blue that sells a ridiculous amount. It happens every once in a while. It doesn't happen very often, but they're willing to take that chance, or just to have more content on their system to make it more desirable, knowing that they still have their big blockbusters coming. They still have the Transformers that's going to make ridiculous amounts of money, even though it maybe shouldn't. But
Pokemon, here we come.
Yep, Nintendo's got Zelda and Pokemon, and granted, Nintendo's first parties generally sell well regardless because they don't make a lot of. Let's face it, Nintendo makes Mario games and Zelda games. They don't really take a lot of risk when it comes to their core games. I don't think anyway. They kind of focus on their IPs.
Although I read something today, and they are entering Smash Brothers into that fighting tournament thing for the first time ever. That's different. I mean, Nintendo has never done that though. I mean, at least they're doing something.
A ton of Smash Brothers players that are all hardcore. Interesting side story if we got a minute.
We have a minute.
Do we? Alright. So, back when I worked at GameStop, my boss gave me the old GameCube display that they had. Big, huge metal, solid stand, TV, GameCube that lights up in the middle. Cool. I ended up selling it 2 years later to a guy for about $150, so he could play Smash Brothers on it. That's all he wanted it for. Smash Brothers tournaments. That's it.
Yeah.
$150 giant, 200-pound metal statue of a behemoth, so he could play Smash Brothers. I was happy to load it up in the truck and get it out of my frickin' living room. It was awesome.
I just think it's a good direction that they're actually going into something that people are interested in.
What's the name of that? Is that the EVA?
Evo, yeah.
Okay.
Evo, yeah.
I'm glad. I know a lot of people that'll be happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I just want to bring up one more point. I read an article, and this is just an opinion base, and I know I probably shouldn't bring this on here, but I'm gonna. He's talking about the way they can save the Wii U is to make a damn Pokemon MMO.
Yes. And
I
yeah.
think that would completely save Nintendo. But I'm not big into Pokemon, so I don't know how people about Pokemon feel. But
I don't
I
even
agree
think
with
they need an MMO. I think they just need a legitimate, good 3D
Yeah.
Pokemon game that's open world. Doesn't even have to be MMO.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it
I've
doesn't
said
have
that
to be
forever.
First one,
Yeah.
giant open world Skyrim-ish kind of Pokemon. Second one, MMO. There, you sold your system out. Good for you. Make that money. Make it rain.
We're way off topic.
That's all right.
Anyway.
Nintendo's an interesting topic in general. They
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
they don't fall into hardly any of these categories. Like they don't have, they have their blockbusters, but they don't deviate. They don't try new IPs very often. Even
I think I
their
read-
new IPs are based on existing characters with a little new twist. Like they just don't
Mhm.
they don't do
Yeah.
new IPs, and that's fine because
Well-
it works for them. But
Well, you notice any new IPs they try, they approach them like an indie every time almost. And if it's got a big following and it sells well, then they might put it into a medium game. And then if that does well, might get its full-fledged game. Maybe they have the right system.
well, I also don't think in most of their games they spend much money on them in general. I think they reserve the big money for the Mario and the Zeldas period, and everything
Sure.
else is treated as secondary completely.
I don't see why not. That's what sells and that's what makes you money.
That's what sells, but they're not leading anything in game sales right now. They might have a
Sure,
customer in me
sure.
right here if they invested more money in some of these other games, but
I don't think you were over their fan base, though.
sure I was. I play games. I'm their market. I mean, that's people like me who play games. Yes, I don't necessarily enjoy a lot of their IPs, but let's be real, their IPs haven't frickin' changed in years. It's the same fricking Zelda games. It's the same Mario games. It's the same Kirby. It's show me something fucking new that I didn't play a less pretty version 5 years ago. I enjoy Smash Brothers,
Right.
but it's the same damn thing. Fine, keep them going, but show me something new as well. Create something
but
brand
that's
new.
Nintendo market.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't fit
Doing
in
the
there,
same
and that's
thing
why
all-
they'll probably never have me as a real customer because they don't do the things that Sony and Microsoft do. They don't invest a lot of money in these new IPs and try to make them a new franchise. So
Right.
they stick with what works for them, and like I said, it works for them. But they're never going to expand their market. So their market is
Oh,
what
yeah.
it is. They're just eating off the same slice of pie instead of trying to, maybe sell a second slice of pie to someone, if that makes any sense. So I don't know. It is what it is. So Nintendo probably will never change unless they absolutely have to, and even then they still might not change. So for those of you that really enjoy the Nintendo's IPs, great. People like me, probably never going to be a Nintendo owner again. So
I mean, they're Disney for all intents and purposes. If you like Disney stuff, then you'll like it. If you don't like it, then you should never watch a Disney movie.
I enjoy Disney movies though, but the other thing is
I mean,
Disney
I'm
takes
just saying, it's
risks.
like it's an aesthetic.
Yeah.
They have like an aesthetic, and so does, and Nintendo has an aesthetic for the most part. I guess Bayonetta 2 is a departure, but
Disney's a great comparison. Good job, Kevin.
that's not really my idea. Because I mean, I think it's a pretty because Nintendo always wanted to be Disney, and I think they're finally all they need to do is open up a theme park. They just open up a Nintendo theme park.
Oh God,
they are
yes.
Disney. You know what I mean?
I would be all over that.
The problem is Disney actually invests in new IPs and new movies and new everything. Like they do sequels, but they don't do as many sequels as Nintendo does. How many freaking Mario platformers are there since the 64? How many Mario platformers are there? And I'm not saying they're not good games. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just asking how many are there.
I don't know. Lately, Disney movies aren't no. Well, if we're talking cartoons, like Frozen, I wasn't really a big fan of that movie.
That's fine. I'm not saying you have to be a fan of them. I'm just saying they still are doing new
that's a good point.
things. They're doing
think-
new
I think-
movies. So
And I think Frozen is a good example of them. It's a new IP, and it's done well. It's done pretty much in the same vein as a lot of Disney IP.
That's
but
what I mean. It's
still
Disney.
new. It's still, they're not making they're not making Cinderella 5. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like we're on
that's-
Mario, whatever.
Well, that's like saying Hyrule Warriors is Nintendo's Frozen.
that's fine.
They're taking their IP and mixing
I don't know
with
what you just said.
Hyrule Warriors is the first game that's different for a Nintendo platform, or for the Nintendo platform in years.
Yeah.
Based
and you
on-
could argue that they're trying a little bit with this
Yeah.
generation. making Zelda open world, even though Darksiders 2 pretty much already did it.
I think Zelda had to be open world. There's absolutely zero excuse to have the old style Zelda game, but I guarantee you it's still going to be a typical Zelda game. It might be open world, but it's going to be closed off. Like I think they've already said that it's not going to be flat out open world. It's not going to be Skyrim where you can go wherever the hell you want. I think it's going to be closed off. Basically, you have to be a certain level, or you have to do something, then you can go into this new area. So
it'll be Darksiders 2, guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. I actually enjoy that style of game. So the new Zelda game does look intriguing, but it's still a Zelda game in the end, and obviously it has to be because that's in the franchise. You wouldn't want to change it drastically. So I just want them to create new IPs. New IPs based on all new things and not just a slightly varied gameplay like Kirby's or whatever, Epic Yarn or whatever the hell that game is at Yoshi's. What was that one? I can't remember what it is. The Epic Yarn game.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm talking about? Is that Kirby?
I think that's Kirby. I think Yoshi has one too for some reason.
Yeah, Yoshi has
Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi's Yarny World.
Yeah, it's I mean, all these games are just slight tweaks of their existing games using the same characters. I just want to, when was the last time Nintendo created a new character that was awesome? The crickets, exactly. They haven't. And I'm not saying Microsoft has done a great job either, but they do have like Sunset Overdrive coming out and some of his other games. But obviously Halo or Master Chief was their big gun as far as characters go. But at least they're still trying in some.
Didn't Nintendo create Scribblenauts? That was pretty cool. That's all I can think of.
Was that Nintendo? It might be. I don't remember.
It's on PC though.
Yeah, I thought it was an indie game on.
Let me look at it. Yeah. I just know there's a lot of Scribblenauts for the Wii U. I'm looking at it right now. And platform Nintendo, publisher Warner Brothers. Okay, yeah, or Warner Home Video Games, so it's not Nintendo.
And Sony and Microsoft are obviously like in a different. They're playing a different game than Nintendo. Like Nintendo sees themselves as an established like product, and Sony and Microsoft I think identify themselves more as like kind of like on the bleeding edge. Like they're going to be what's next. We don't know what it is yet, but they're going to give us what we want.
Someone once said that Nintendo is a toy company, not a video game company, and that's how I see it.
That's
true. But
what they think of themselves as. Yeah.
All it would take is one sweet new IP from Nintendo that's adult focused, and they would sell that many more units.
Bayonetta. No.
Yeah, I'm talking about Nintendo first party, because Nintendo makes quality first party games. I have no issue with their quality. Just their themes and the characters they just keep reusing and reusing and reusing. If they made an all new IP that was the same quality as the Miyamoto games or whatever you wanna that first party, but with a whole new theme, a whole new character set, and it was good and it was of that quality, it will sell units. Because I guarantee you, I'm not the only one out there who's waiting or wanting Nintendo to just do something a little different. Because would I buy a Zelda game? I probably would, because I do try these games. But I'm not going to buy a system to buy the Zelda game. But if there was like that game plus another really sweet IP, maybe they have, I'm not saying Watch Dogs, but think of a new IP in the vein of the scale of Watch Dogs, an awesome new type of game that looks really good. They show some previews of it and it looks amazing. That would be a reason to buy a console for people like me.
I think really it's a matter of fear. Because, Nintendo has built up these characters and built up these characters and built up these characters. And then you have people who expect these kind of games. And it gets to the point where maybe they don't have time to run another new character, new IP, because they can't even hardly crank out their first IPs anymore. I mean, you look at Zelda, it's been how long since we finally got an announcement? I just think they're too scared to take risks, and I don't disagree with you, Chen. I'd like to see some new characters and stuff like that on Nintendo. It's just I just don't know if they'd ever do that because, like I was saying, they see themselves as an established company and a toy company, not really a video game company.
Fair enough. We talked way more about Nintendo than I anticipated. The fact
we did,
which is a dedicated Nintendo.
Yeah, more than zero, because that's what I anticipated us talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should probably end the podcast here. I didn't bring up my code word, but I'm going to edit it in there myself when I edit this podcast, letting everyone know when it's the word. So you guys won't even know where it is until you listen to the podcast, if you listen to the podcast. So it's just going to show up somewhere.
But I want another code word. No.
Yeah. You guys are excluded. No, you guys can't win. Mortimus also is excluded. He's the only other person. So anyone.
Oh, time to change my IP address and make a new account.
Oh man.
It wouldn't even be clever. It would be like
Carnal
This is Carnal.
Sin.
No,
Carnal
yeah,
Sin.
not Carnal Sin. Carnal Sin. Yes.
All right.
I wouldn't do that. It's fucked up.
So we have a couple.
Good luck
of,
to whoever does
Yeah,
win it.
This is not the Carnal you're looking for.
Yep. So.
Maiden.
Yeah. We'd never guessed that.
It'd be like Carnal 2.
All right. Anyway, what are you saying, John?
I think we're gonna call it here. It's long enough. We'll save the other topics. We have a couple of the topics that we wanted to get to, like free to play is an upcoming one that we're gonna discuss because I think that's pertinent to a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. Free to play, pay to win, that sort of stuff. Probably talk about that next week unless a whole bunch of news comes out between then and now.
Hopefully, geez.
Or between now and
So
then.
quiet.
Yeah, it is really quiet news-wise. I mean, we're scraping the barrel here when it comes to news. But a good thing is it gives us time to talk about some of these other topics that we sometimes don't get to because there's so much going on. So
Yep.
I'm okay with it. We have good discussions. So
Barrel's the code word. Barrel.
So all right.
Do a barrel roll.
With that, I think we'll wrap it. I don't really have any announcements or anything regarding the forum or next week's podcast or anything other than there will be a podcast. Once again, if you have any ideas or want us to discuss anything, feel free to let us know in the thread that you think might be a good topic for a podcast, or for a part of a podcast. Obviously, we're not going to spend 2 hours talking about one topic unless it's E3. So we'll spend 4 hours talking about it.
Oh, Jesus.
But everyone have a great night. Thanks for coming to the podcast. Hopefully next week we'll get more of our full crew, back. Landshark and Average and,
Possibly Mortimus.
Yeah, Mortimus, if one person's out, can fill in. He couldn't fill in today, so he had stuff going on.
Yeah.
But 4 is good. Any less than that, I probably would have just scoured my friends list to see if anyone wanted to join.
Bring someone
Some
that
random
nothing-
person.
No,
I don't know who you are.
I'm waiting for
but,
the podcast that's just Chano and Carnal.
Oh, God.
It'll be me, Carnal, and like 4 people we've never talked to on our friends list.
I don't even know anything about video games.
Yeah. It'll be just a giant train
Who
wreck.
are you people?
I'll be kicking people off the podcast in the middle of it. Now that I know you, I don't like you.
Get them off some cam girl site and we'll just put them in the... That'd be fucking hilarious, dude.
All right. Well, thanks.
We get really desperate if we call my parents.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know. Right?
I actually thought about this. I think since most of us have, most of us not named Dom, have a girlfriend or wife, I think it'd be hilarious.
Aw.
I'm not taking a
Aw.
shot at you. I'm just
Burn.
saying most of us.
I know.
The rest of us do have a wife or girlfriend, I believe.
Yes.
I think it'd be hilarious to have a segment where we make them talk about something game related
God,
and get their
yes.
opinions on something. Very short segment.
Oh,
I want to do
my
it for like an hour, but
No, my wife would.
That
do
would
it.
be funny.
Absolutely.
just like
Bring her
10 or
on here,
15
she can
minutes.
talk about Skyrim.
Can I put a sock puppet on my hand and that's my girlfriend?
You
You
can.
do every other night.
Yeah. It was, Burn.
That was good.
Kind of had a... Oh, no, I won't say that. I'll say it after the podcast goes
Yeah,
off.
does he sit on his hand first and then put the sock puppet on it?
Wow.
So
There, I typed it.
I didn't even look at it. But all right. So anyone who's still listening, sorry.
For anyone that's going to come back next week
Yeah.
and listen to our podcast.
Don't judge us too harshly. Thanks for listening, and good luck if you listened and sent me the private message regarding the code word. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for joining me, and have a great week.
Bye-bye. The code word is definitely not kitty.